Hey everyone, welcome to part 3. Sorry about the wait. You can probably not really tell. It's a bit of a wait, but it's 3 o'clock now, so I had to have the battery charged. But anyway, getting back to what I was trying to say, I believe, like I was saying, N-Circle obtained the rights to distribute DVDs of Sonic SatAM as well as the other Sonic series. And like I said, one of them was and most of them always like a variety, kind of like a variety of different episodes from season 1, and sometimes they would combine episodes from season 1 and season 2. So that was alright, I guess, if you just wanted to have individual DVDs. I mean, there is hope. There is probably hope that they are going to release it as a complete set. The reason I say that is because they've released Volume 1, N-Circle Entertainment has released Volume 1 of Sonic Underground. So there's the possibility that Sonic SatAM will probably get that same treatment. But until then, they've individually given people, they've individually released different volumes, like I said, with a mixture of episodes from one season or from like season 1 or 2, or sometimes they mix them up. A good example of mixing things up would be this one right here, which I got from, I believe, Walmart online, and it is the Sonic Megamix DVD. This is the Sonic Megamix, and what's ironic is Adventures has 3 episodes on here, while Underground and SatAM only have 2, and the episodes of SatAM are Ultrasonic and Supersonic. So, yeah. Those are the only episodes. But again, though, SatAM, for the past 20 years, like I said in the first 2 parts, its fan base has never really wavered. I mean, yeah, like I said in part 1, you know, there will be some that will think it's overrated. And those people's opinions, believe it or not, get outweighed by the opinions of those that have enjoyed the series. Because the thing is with SatAM, you know, when you look back on it, even to this day, you could say one thing, that it was more different than any other video game adapted cartoon at that time. You know, it was more different, it was more, I mean, basically, it took, like I said in part 1, what little backstory there was in the games, and expanded on it. And to prove that that was and basically to prove that that was a huge success for them, Sega of America and the Sega Technical Institute was planning, and they even have somewhere, one of the people that was planning this released video footage of what was going to be a SatAM game. And there were various titles that went through it. I think the first title was Sonic Mars or Sonic Extreme or something like that. And it was different concepts that happened. I think the SatAM one was going to be it was going to be the Sonic 32 or something like that. It was supposed to be in conjunction with the upcoming 32X. That's what it was. And that didn't happen. It got canceled. Basically, the founding father, founding creator, if you will, of Sonic said, "No, I don't. This is not Sonic. This gameplay is not Sonic." Because basically, the SatAM video game that was being planned and developed was not platformed as a traditional Sonic game. You know, basically, Sonic wasn't running fast as he should. He was more like, you know, it was basically a side-scroller without the speed. It was basically the game, and I think this is what he didn't understand, was supposed to be based in the world of SatAM. So, you know, there you go. And apparently, that game, and I think the other game that was going to feature the SatAM cast, which was Sonic Mars, and I think originally Sonic Extreme or something like that, one of the games, if not both of the games, were going to allow you to individually switch from playing Sonic and playing the other to playing the other characters as well. That was the initial plan, from what I understand. But again, it did not happen. But to say that the legacy of SatAM is, in the past 20 years is, to say the franchise and the legacy that is left, is still being felt to this day, I mean, it's an understatement. I remember 2 years ago, I looked on Google, and Google was talking about this is for kids, basically one of the Cookie Jar Entertainment blocks for syndication or whatever, or even Saturday mornings, or weekday mornings, I should say, what I mentioned earlier about, I think, part 1 or something, part 1 or 2. The initial talk was, and this was featured on Wikipedia, and it was talked about all over, was the initial thought was, okay, we're going to get Sonic SatAM along with Sonic Underground. That was the initial thought. Or we were going to get, basically the initial thought was we were going to get all 3 Sonic shows. We were going to get all 3 Sonic shows at once. Kind of like an hour and a half of Sonic. Adventures, SatAM, and Underground. That was the initial thought at first. Like I said, that was the initial thought at first. And what happened instead is we got Adventures, and instead what we got was kind of unusual. What we got was Underground, Adventures, Underground. That's what we got. And you would think, well, wait a minute, it's an hour and a half block dedicated to Sonic. You couldn't put all 3? And my thought on this was, and I think anybody else would agree, is the reason they didn't do that is because SatAM is a little darker than the other 2. Underground's dark. Don't get me wrong, and they know that. It's dark. Sometimes it's even darker at times than SatAM was, but still, I think it was more of the fact that Underground had a bit of a mixture of that lightheartedness more than SatAM did with the darkness. Underground kind of evened it out, I guess you could say. So yeah, Underground basically evened it out, if you will. Evened out that darkness and basically evened out the dark tones with the humorous tones. So yeah, that was, I'm guessing that's why they chose to do 2 Underground episodes instead of doing Adventures, SatAM, and Underground, or however they were going to position it. So, and that was like a couple of years ago, not even that long ago, that there was that thought that, we might see it in syndication. Now, apparently it had appeared in syndication before. And to say that in 20 years that it's had its ups and downs when it's come to being broadcast on other channels, either the cable channels or syndicated channels, is an understatement. One of the most notable things about it being aired on different stations was if it was on syndication, you got it uncut. There was no doubt about that. But the most notable airing for SatAM after it left ABC, the most notable thing about its a future airing after that, which was about a year or 2 later, on the USA Network as part of USA's Action Extreme Team block. What was different about that was the episodes, and I didn't even notice this, quite honestly. I did not notice this until some people mentioned it online, and I actually saw it online, was that during the USA broadcast of the show, USA, I guess for time restraints, cut out certain sections of episodes to, make up for time, or to, basically make up for time, basically due to time restraints or something. That's from what I understand. And again, I didn't know that, because when I first found out that Sonic SatAM was on USA, believe it or not, was in '96 when Sonic Christmas Blast was aired. I didn't know about Sonic being on there. I didn't know at all. And then after I did this little vocational summer program for about a week or two, well, I kind of got an understanding of, what it will be like living on my own or living in a dorm if I went to college and all that, which I was going to. We basically have an idea of what it was going to be like living, on my own or with roommates. One of the things I noticed around 6 o'clock in the morning, this was Central Time there, was Sonic SatAM was on USA being broadcast alongside Adventures. Basically the way they would do it is they would do Adventures for all 65 episodes, and then for the next 26 episodes they would transition over to SatAM, which I thought was cool. But I didn't know from what I'd seen that they had butchered the episodes, as many people put it, but they did. They apparently edited out certain scenes due to time restraints, and nobody liked it. They were glad USA was airing SatAM. They just were not happy at the fact that USA had basically butchered the show the way they did. So that's probably one of the lowest, I guess, people could say when it comes to rebroadcasting the show that it's gotten to. Basically to where it's just been butchered due to time restraints. But the thing is, its initial run on USA not USA, but on ABC Saturday mornings, it kind of had its ups and downs. It didn't really start picking up steam until basically the spring and summer of 1994 and 1995. That's when it started picking. Well, actually not the spring and summer, but more along the lines of winter, basically New Year's, late winter. Basically it was like its ratings started to pick up. It started to get more noticed and watched by fans and a lot of people. Basically in the first 5 months, or the first 3 to 4 months of the new year. Basically from January to May is when it started to get noticed. It got noticed during its original fall run on both seasons, but it wasn't until the new year, and mostly between January and May, that it really started to get noticed by a lot of people, and people started to catch up on it due to the fact that there was nothing on ABC Saturday mornings that would preempt it. Nothing really. The only thing I think that's preempted it before was, after college football and all that was over, the only thing I think preempting it was the inaugural address by the president. The president's inaugural address, or swearing in, or whatever you want to call it. That's about it. That's the only thing that I think interrupted it once, and that was it. There was nothing else that interrupted it during that time. So basically from January to May in 94 and in 95 is when people were able to catch up on the episodes and kind of get an understanding of where things were. Now, rating-wise, it did decent, but I think it did, in my opinion, it did a decent ratings job. And more importantly, like I said, during the January to May runs in 94 and 95. But even with that, the initial ratings, the original ratings, didn't look so good. Not just due the original ratings for the initial run of both seasons didn't do so well. Not just because the episodes were pushed into earlier time slots, but mostly because of the fact that they were going up against Power Rangers. And to me, those were the two big shows on the block at those time frames, Power Rangers and SatAM. And like I said, SatAM picked up progress during the January to May run of both 94 and 95. And everybody knows that. So that's how its ratings were able to increase, was basically doing its initial second to third runs, reruns, if you will. And that's about it. But it was doing all this, doing its runs on syndication and even on USA, Butch It or Not, that the fan base just grew. People got more caught up with it. It's like Ben-Hur said, when it went to syndication, or in some cases went into reruns, like I said, during January and May of 94 and 95, for both season 1 and 2, is when people really started to pick up on it. Basically, it started to get more picked up and noticed, not just during January to May, but let's just put it this way, from January all the way up to season 2 is when it started to get really noticed by the fans, because people were able to pick up on it and watch it without any interruptions, without having to tune in to watch Power Rangers instead, because Power Rangers at this time was also replaying episodes. They basically were able to watch both seasons and catch up with both seasons up until either the beginning of season 2 or the beginning of an all-new ABC block without Sonic SatAM on it. So, that was basically it. That was basically the initial situation right there. Excuse me for a second. That was basically to me, from January to May, and mostly during the summer, I should say. I should actually just say, like I mentioned, from January to about September is when people started to really pick up on it. During the first 9 months, mostly. But initially, if you really want to look at it from a rating standpoint, from January to May is when they really started to pick up on it. But again, to say it had its ups and downs is an understatement, especially when it came to its airings. Now, here's the thing though about Sonic SatAM. Initially, as anybody knows, even I was hoping for this, a third season had been planned. Yeah, a third season. And unfortunately, that season did not come to fruition. It didn't. Basically, according to Ben Hurst, there was a saying that he heard going through Dick Entertainment and through ABC, which was, and I quote, "Percolate down, a new broom sweeps clean," or something like that. And basically what that meant was the new staff in charge of ABC's children's television division, if you will, the new staff there did see Sonic SatAM along with some other shows as being part of the future blocks. They didn't see it. So they decided to get rid of it. Well, they kept some other shows that quite honestly could have gone, could have left it, could have been taken off instead of Sonic, in my opinion. Free Willy, the animated series, that could have been out the window. I mean, there was some that they could have taken off and they could have kept Sonic on there. But they didn't do that. They kept Reboot, which was good. Reboot's a good series, but I'm surprised they didn't keep Sonic. Basically, the third season had a lot planned out for it, according to Ben Hurst. It was going to involve things. There was going to be things involving Tails, getting some new power, a love triangle taking place, Nog is coming in as the new villain, and things like that. I mean, basically, Ben-Hur in an interview on the DVD set, as well as numerous times during chats with the fans, basically told them, hey, you know those red eyes you saw at the end of Doomsday? That was not Metal Sonic. That was not Knuckles. That was Nogus. Now, there are some that still tend to believe that it could have been somebody else. That maybe Ben was just trying to throw you off a little bit. As well, trying to throw you off a bit so that you initially wouldn't guess right off the bat. But if he's saying it's Nogus, then I tend to believe it. Then I believe what he had to say there. Because I think honestly, when you think about it, Nogus, I think, would have been the best fit for Season 3. Now, from what I understand, and this is just rumors, this is just speculation and rumors that people have talked about, it seemed that perhaps Ben-Hur didn't just have Season 3 planned out, that Ben-Hur actually had multiple other seasons, basically like 2 more seasons planned out as well. According to speculation and rumor, Ben-Hur had seasons like 4 and 5 not written down but planned out in his head. And that from what people have speculated and have reported that from basically what fans have speculated and have said that they've been told by Ben-Hur, that they have been told by Ben-Hur. And again, this is just rumors and speculation of what people have been told by Ben-Hur or Lynn Jensen or whoever was involved. That the seasons that were being planned out in the mind of Ben-Hur and Ernst, I believe, and several others, was going to involve Knuckles, because Knuckles, according to again, speculation and rumors, Knuckles was only going to be introduced towards the end of Season 3 and would have more of an active role in Season 4, and that the following seasons would slowly start integrating other characters from the games. Like, I think people speculated that Ben or somebody said Amy Rose was going to be added in like around Season 5 or 4 or whatever. Just, again, this is all speculation, that you were going to see game characters being initialized into SatAM's further seasons, but again, that did not happen. It didn't happen. But again, that's all speculation. So even with speculation, that kind of shows you the impact that the show has, where people are speculating at the possibility that Ben-Hur, along with other people that worked on the show, like Lynn Jensen and Pat Lee and a few others, that that they had more planned more stuff planned out in their minds of what they were going to do with the show. And again, this is all due to the speculation by the fan base, showing you the impact, showing you the impact that the show has had. I mean, you even have fans later down the line. You have fans later down the line initially trying to resurrect the series in some form or fashion. One person who's been very controversial with fans, called Richard Kunta, had for years been saying he wanted to do a movie. And he even did a little bit of an animation test that he showcased here on YouTube. He's even showcased photos of him going to places like 20th Century Fox Studios and Universal and places like that, DreamWorks, to present his idea for a movie. Now, the reason I say he's very controversial is because some fans don't tend to believe a word he says, and basically feel that he put a black mark on the fan base, if you know what I mean. Now, again though, to see that that's the kind of impact that the show has had in 20 years, over the past 20 years, really shows you that, it has a legacy that it's not going to die. It's not. I mean, even Ben Hurst was working on his own, and then at one time with Ken Penders to try to get a movie made. That's right. Ben Hurst, God rest his soul again, was so dead set, not dead set, he was kind of dead set on trying to get season 3 off the ground. Even to the point that he said, hey, if we have to do a movie based around season 3, I'm cool with that. And that was one of his ideas to do, was to do a movie if he couldn't get another season made. If he couldn't get another network if they couldn't get another network to pick up the show, his initial plan was, hey, let's do a movie. And then later on, he worked with Ken Penders on trying to do a movie that would sort of be like a collaboration and a mixture of both the Saturday morning cartoon and the Archie comic book. But then Ken Penders decides to go off on his own deal, and Ken Penders' initial idea for a movie was, hey, let's do a franchise of movies. Let's do a franchise of movies. Let's slowly bring in other characters with each movie. So, yeah, apparently it was all like, everything that, basically a movie or whatever idea for season 3 at that time just hit that wall and just hit brick walls and just was put on the shelves indefinitely. Ben Hurst even said in the interview on the season 2 disc 2 special feature that all it takes is one phone call for things to change, and that is true. One phone call to Hollywood and with I believe a good script and a good idea is, it'll basically change the complexity of what could be and what could not be. So, of what could be and what could not be. So, yeah. So, my dog's getting playful here, but again, like I said, that could change the complexity. That could change the game. I mean, basically, it's like I said in a video beforehand. And I said, well, now is the best time for a Sonic movie to be made. I wasn't lying. I think now is the best time for a Sonic movie to initially get developed, because you take a look at all these other movie projects being done. You take a look at all these other movies being done, and I gotta put her in the caddy, calm her down for a second. She's getting a little cuckoo. I don't want to go after those plushes. Getting a little cuckoo there. But anyway, like I said, like I said in that video, I think right now is the best time for a movie to happen. I really do. So, that's something to hopefully look into as well in the future. And again, the impact of this